and I want to hear this because I know it's the communication skills in a product manager position are tricky. So how did you get to this?
Yeah, so I started at Texas as a salesperson. So it was a BDR, SDR, and then moved into being a small business account executive. Somewhere about 2 years into being in sales, like it was one of my first jobs out of college. I looked at my life and was like, I'm not super happy doing this. It wasn't the company, it was the role. And I was like, I want to do something else. Like I'm a builder, I like to make things and like work with my hands and that sort of thing. So well, I didn't know what it was. I knew I liked the company and the culture and the product. So I was able to transition to our support team. In the support team, the customer success, like we did everything from like account provisioning and creation to like troubleshooting, finding bugs, and then reporting up to engineering. I grew into a tier 3 support engineer role and actually reported to Brittany on the engineering team. And that was a lot more like a kind of a filter between engineering and the customers and the support team, and that's like the sales team as well. So it's kind of the start of this. And from there, so I was like, recreating bugs, making sure they actually were like started to get really familiar with our API, and could answer any question about our API and how to use it, and got comfortable with that. And then almost a year ago now, I applied for a product manager role that was open at Texas, got the role, and have been kind of doing that ever since. There's definitely a bit of a ramp up period there where I was like, it's an interesting position to be between like, the support engineers, like this is how the app works and it's broken or it's not, and then getting to go to the other side of the position and being like, this is how it should work and like, let's do it this way.
Right. So it's you're adept at kind of translating between English and programmerese.
Yeah, and getting like, it's funny because you want to be specific without saying like what exactly to do. It's like defining the problem and being like, it's not working this way, and this is why. This is like the context of what the customers are trying to do, and that's why the app behaving this way doesn't work, because like you hit this one spot and I can't manage this many conversations or something like that. Like it's translating it from customer needs, and they don't really know what they want or need. They're just saying it doesn't work, and being able to put yourself in their shoes and be like, this is what you want to do, right? And they say, oh yeah, that is, and then communicate that, translate it to engineering.
So you kind of take the why from the customer, turn that into a what, hand that to engineering and say, you tell me how.
Right, without trying to, yeah, exactly. So I'm taking and getting to the root of it too, because like there's a common request. I'm trying to think of like an example, but it's like, we want this. I'm like, but what problem are you trying to solve there? And finding that and being like, well, would this work for you as well? Because like to do that thing, engineering is telling me it would be a 3-month project. We can do this other thing and like get you a solution that works. It's like your problem is you don't want to text people that you texted in the last week. Like there's something else we can do here besides like redoing the way we do the whole app.
Right.
Yeah, I think a good example would be like, people aren't replying to me. And so the request might come into product as, let me text more people at once. And meanwhile, that's not the actual solve. Like it's how can we help them send better messages?
Or it's like, oh, you're texting landlines and that's why nobody's replying to you.
That's not good. Now, one thing that we really missed Josh for that you didn't touch on, Josh, is when Josh was in tier 3 support, he was also our QA, and he's one of the best QA I've ever worked with. And so while I'm so glad Josh is a PM now, we have not hit that bar again on QA. Just Josh is really, I don't know, he's really stringent and picky. And he's really good about recreating a flow that a customer would do. And I think it's really hard to teach people that, because he was so well versed in what the customers were doing because he spent so much time in customer support and sales doing demos. There's nobody at the company, literally nobody at the company, literally the person who started the application that knows the application better than Josh, which is really hard to find.
So he's the top tier toy breaker.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was fun for me too, because like you get kind of obsessive and you go in and you do it over and over again. Yeah. So thank you. And I just had fun doing it. So
That's awesome.
If you like this clip and want to watch another one, you can click right here. Or if you want to watch the full video, you can click here.